Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So about a month ago, I made a video graphing every single team in the NHL based on how good they are heading into next season, on top of how good they're going to be in like 5 to 6 years. I think I used 2030 as the target date, and I put them all on the graph. The x-axis was how good they were right now, the y-axis being how good their future is. So we're doing it again, but with forwards and defense heading into next season. We're not looking at the goalie tandems. We're just looking at the overall forward core and defenseman core that each team is rolling out heading into this season. No future stuff, just looking at next season. So without further ado, let's get into it. Up first, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I think we can agree they have a good forward core. I think the defense core is actually pretty solid heading into next season. Do I like the Chris Tanev and Oliver Ekman-Larsson deals like long term? No, of course not. They gave them way too much term. They're probably going to get thrown on LTIR. But for next season, I think that they actually have some solid pieces within that defense core. Morgan Riley doesn't have to carry a defense core. I mean, he can't carry a defense core, but I think it's up middle of the pack, okay defense core, and then they just have so much star talent with the forwards. So I'm going to put them like right there as of right now. Next up, we got the San Jose Sharks, and as you can imagine, they are going straight to the bottom left. When looking at it, they pretty easily have the worst defense in the NHL. And then the forward core, unless Smith, Celebrini, and like Eklund takes a massive step, it's probably a bottom three group. So I'm gonna put them there as of right now. The Winnipeg Jets, I think they're just like a very middling team. I maybe like their forward core a little bit more than their defense core, but it's Connor Hellebuyck that elevates this team and makes it a playoff team. So I think right there is a solid spot for the Winnipeg Jets. Utah Hockey Club, this time last year in terms of defense, they were like all the way over here. They had a bad defense core, but they went out and were very aggressive. I'm still not too big on their forward core considering they just have so many young guys, and I don't think they're going to take these massive jumps next season. So I think they have an okay defense core now heading into next season, but the forward core is still pretty raw outside of like Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz. Carolina Hurricanes, very, very good defensive core. In my opinion, still the best in the NHL, despite losing Brady Shea, despite losing Brett Pesce. I thought them getting Ghost and Walker was very good adds to replace them. The forward core is like meh. I might honestly move him down a little bit outside of that top line of Jarvis, Aho, and Svechnikov. I'm going to move him down even more, honestly. It doesn't really move me, but the defense core is still just so goddamn good. Vancouver Canucks, Hughes, Hronek, it's an amazing top pair, but outside of that, it's really nothing too special. But the forward core is very good. The forward core is very elite. It is top five for me. Anaheim Ducks, unless guys take big jumps, they're like somewhat around here. Probably more so bad defense than bad forward core. St. Louis Blues, my bad. They have a better forward core, but I think their defense might even be worse than the Anaheim Ducks. Detroit, bad defense, but I'm clustering all these teams. Let me separate some of these teams. Yeah, I'm gonna. No, they got to be ahead of. They got to be ahead of. I can't hate on the Wings that much. Still, I think their defense. No, their defense is worse than St. Louis. What am I doing? I'm going on the fly. But yeah, okay to below average forward core. Bad defense though. The Seattle Kraken, after getting Brandon Montour, Larson, Alexiak are very solid defensemen. I think they have a pretty solid defense. The forward core is deep, but not a ton of star talent. So they go like here. Yeah. That's fine. Vince Dunn, of course, I forgot to mention him, but he's a top 20 defenseman for me. Tampa Bay Lightning, Victor Hedman has fallen off, in my opinion, at least defensively, but is still a pretty damn good top pair offense defenseman. They lost Sergachev, but I think Ryan McDonough was a very good ad. So I'm gonna put him. I'm going to put him around here. Okay defense, and then the forward core. The top six is very special, but not a ton of depth. New Jersey Devils, I think they got a good mix of both after getting Brendan Dillon, after getting Brett Pesce, another year of Luke Hughes and Simone Nemec development, assuming that they can stay healthy. Dougie Hamilton only played like 16 games last year. They have a very, very good defense heading into next year, and the forwards are also pretty damn good. Calgary Flames, bad defense outside of Rasmus Anderson and Mackenzie Weegar. Forward core is also pretty bad. Maybe Huberdeau can bounce back. They still have Kadri, Sharon Govich, but it's pretty goddamn bad. I'm actually going to lower them in terms of forward core. San Jose might be on the same level. Philadelphia, I'm not a big on Philadelphia this season. Their forward core, I'll put them like around here. The forward core has some depth, but outside of Konechny, no potential. Like unless Michkov's amazing. But Boston Bruins, really good defense. I'm still not that impressed with the forward core, though. They got some big boys with that defense. I mentioned it in the biggest strengths video, but yeah, the forward core still no true number one center outside of Pasta. I don't know how Marshawn's going to look like this year coming off all those injuries. So, yeah, an okay forward core. And then Jeremy Swayman's a stud. Colorado Avalanche, very good defense. I like their pickups this offseason, Brancham and Dahan, on top of already having a top four that's one of the best in hockey. So very, very good defense in the running. I got to separate some of these. In the running for best defense in the NHL, on top of having legit superstar players. And if Nichushkin can somehow bounce back, if somehow Landeskog can come back, they're going to have a pretty damn good forward core as well. My New York Islanders, maybe I'm being biased, but I think they have a pretty good defense heading into next season when looking at their top four. The bottom pair is a little bit scary. Forward core, it's going to come down to whether guys like Duclair can really pop off and some of their older guys can kind of stay off regression. I'm not going to have them that high in terms of the forward core. I think it is kind of like a below average forward core, but I think the defense is slightly above average. And then you got Ilya Sorokin in net. Pittsburgh Penguins, I like their defense core. When looking at Carlson, I think he's going to bounce back. Letang, Marcus Pettersson. It's a good defense core, but the forward core is kind of getting up there in age. Can you rely on all these guys to not take another step back with aging? So I'm gonna throw them down there, honestly. Minnesota Wild, I like their defense core, their forward core. They got some stars, but no real depth. I think that's about a fair spot for them. Columbus Blue Jackets, the forward core, it's obviously not looking good after Line and then the tragic passing of Johnny Gaudreau. The defense core is also pretty bad, so I'm gonna, yeah. No, let me move Calgary. Their defense score isn't worse than Columbus's. Florida Panthers. When looking at the Panthers, I think they have a really good forward core still. They only lost Vladimir Tarasenko, who was a trade deadline acquisition. And in terms of the defense, though, it is pretty thin. Forsling, is he legit? Is he a legit top 20 guy? Ekblad has not been able to stay healthy and has been regressing. And then your number 3 is like Kulikov at this point. So I'm not too high on their defense core, but their forward core is still very good. The Buffalo Sabres, there's just so many young guys that have to take a step, like a positive step this year for them to be really anything heading into next season. So I'm going to have them pretty meh when looking at it. Chicago Blackhawks, the forwards are pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. The defense, I think, improved a decent amount, but the forwards are still pretty. Let me spread some of these guys out. The forwards are still middle six for the most part outside of Bedard, so they go there. New York Rangers, not as bad as a defense core as the Florida Panthers. They do have Adam Fox, but outside of it, it is pretty shaky. So I'm going to put them around there. They need to get some production besides that second line that they were rolling out that was so good, but it's still a solid forward core overall. The Washington Capitals, they are the rare exception, the rare team that has a very, very good defense core, but kind of below average forwards. When looking at it, they're going to need Alexander Ovechkin at 38 years old to be like 40-40. Dylan Strome was the 1C, PLD, second line center. Mangiapane, they're betting on a bounce back. It's a pretty damn bad forward core, so they get a spot there. Ottawa Senators, I'm not too high on their defense. The forward core, though, I think could be something, so they're in that little cluster. Let me uncluster these guys a bit. Yeah, it's going to come down to whether Ullmark is legit. Predators, I think they're in a pretty darn good spot when looking at the defense after getting Brady Shea. Yes, they did lose McDonough, but the top 6 is the real star of this team heading into next season, so they go there. Next up, the LA Kings, and for the LA Kings, I think the defense core is pretty solid. The forwards are a little bit lacking for me, so they go there. Edmonton Oilers, very good forwards. Defense core is about average. I'd say you have that top pair, but after that, there's a lot of question marks. Will Darnell Nurse be anywhere close to his goddamn contract? The Montreal Canadiens, I think the forward core is much improved, just internally, growth, as well as getting a Kirby Dach healthy, and on top of adding Patrick Laine, no duh, but the defense core is still pretty below average. Vegas Golden Knights, good defense core, no doubt. The forwards are slacking after losing some guys in this offseason. Chandler Stevenson, Jonathan Marchessault, so their wingers are just brutal heading into next season. And then I got the Dallas Stars, very good forward core, very good top 3 of their defensemen, but after that, it does kind of fall off a decent amount, but I'm going to put them right there. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this graph? I can't say who would you move up? Who would you move down? Who would you move to the right? Who would you move to the left? I'll be seeing you in the next one.